The Galaxy Z Flip 8 versus the Galaxy Z Flip 7. I have to be missing something. Let's go. I have the Galaxy Z Flip 8 with me. And at first glance, and even at second glance, it even feels the same as the Flip 7. It's not exactly the case. There are some minor improvements, but that word minor is very, very prevalent here. The Flip 8 is both thinner and lighter than the Galaxy Z Flip 7. You can certainly notice the thinness when you've got the hinges back to back. It's not so much when it's closed in other views, and when it's open, it's very, very minor. But certainly when you've got the hinges next to each other, you do notice a slightly thinner form factor with the Galaxy Z Flip 8, and it's lighter. So in your hands, you are carrying less of phone, even though it's pretty much the same phone, but it's definitely less of it. You might not notice it when you pick it up immediately, but if you are going to hold it for longer periods of time, definitely will come into play. I will say it is impressive to an extent that they have made it thinner and lighter, but the battery capacity is the same, 4,300 milliamp hours. There is some debate about whether or not Samsung have used silicon carbon here. I have heard they have. So there is some silicon inside the battery, but it's not enough to make it bigger. It's just to keep the thinness of the phone and make it lighter. The other slight design tweak is it does get a wider berth when the phone is closed. You've got a bigger gap, which allows you to open the phone easier. That's exactly the same as what the Fold 8 and Fold 8 Ultra have got. It's just all about that in-hand ergonomics to make sure you can open it a lot more comfortably. And you can see it when they're closed in that clamshell state, that gap is definitely bigger. And then, of course, it does make it easier to open, in theory. And that opening experience has been made better thanks to a better hinge. It definitely feels smoother from closed to open than what the Flip 7 did. The Flip 7 had some different points where it was smooth and then resistant and then smooth again. And that kind of was a little bit jarring. Not terrible, but you just noticed it. Whereas the Flip 8, at least for now in its new state, definitely feels smoother from start to finish. And even going back to closed again, it feels like that too. And then the crease off the back of this hinge being better is also improved. The Flip 7, you can certainly see the crease there and you can feel it. I think that's the biggest change is when you run your fingers over the middle of the phone with the Flip 7, you can see the indent. And that is down to the fact that the hinge was different. Samsung improving this actually allows for a shallower crease, meaning as you're running your fingers across the middle, it doesn't dip in the middle as much as what it did before. And I think for a phone in this state in particular, that's important. Because of the fact you've got the phone open and its natural state is a traditional phone, you are going to be scrolling across that middle of the phone area quite often. So I think it's better on the Flip 8 to have that experience than what you've got on the Flip 7. It's going to be way more natural on the Flip 8 to scroll and go over that sort of bump area, if you will. Outside of that, the external hardware is physically identical. Same cover screen dimensions, exactly the same, and same internal screen dimensions, exactly the same. You've got slightly improved internal hardware thanks to the Exynos 2500 from the Flip 7 getting upgraded to the Exynos 2600 on the Flip 8. That will bring the yearly spec bump of hardware improvements, whether it be down to performance or fluidity. It will be there. You might not notice it for some of the things you're doing on your phone, but it's definitely there. But due to it not being a Snapdragon chip, it misses out on things like the APV codec. It still gets log, so you will still get access to log video, but the Flip 7 also has log too. There is some new camera software though on board that is worth highlighting. The dual recording feature that existed last year, or I think come in with oneui 8.5, has got a new toggle with split screen to enable 16:9 or 9:16 split screen recording, meaning you can record from the rear camera and the selfie camera at the same time in a vertical or wide aspect format, and you can save them as separate files. There is still dual recording on Flip 7, and I imagine with the software update, it's going to get this new one too. Also has access to horizontal lock, where you can actually have that super steady horizontal lock locked in, and with the flex cam feature, you can sort of put it into that flex state and get access to this horizontal lock feature at the same time and treat it like an action cam. You got your controls on the inside and your preview on that side of the screen that you'll be looking at. It's kind of neat. But again, I imagine with oneui 9, we'll see it on Flip 7. Then you've got some changes inside Camera Assistant. The Flip 8 gets the 24 megapixel mode, and you can see that when you activate it, you've got the 24 megapixel resolution as an option. And you've got this other feature called mirror mode, which is new with oneui 9, Camera Assistant, and on the Flip 8. The way it works is once you activate it inside Camera Assistant, you can double press the power button on the cover screen when it's closed, and what will happen is it will launch mirror mode. It activates the camera and effectively it just acts like a mirror. And then there's even a button to create like a little ring light to light up your face a lot better. And you can press the capture button to get a shot of what you're looking at. It won't take a photo, but it gives you a preview of what it is you're looking at in real time. So rather than having to stay perfectly still, you can capture it and then study it. I guess that's neat. There are some other things inside the settings that have kind of been tweaked, like flip shots been brought into the main camera settings, as opposed to having to be just a good lock feature. That's there, not new, but it's been brought to the fore a bit more. But that's realistically it. There's nothing really new on the camera software front because the hardware of the cameras are the same. The main camera and the ultra-wide camera are identical. Same 50 megapixel main camera, same 12 megapixel ultra-wide. It doesn't even get the ultra-wide camera from the Fold 7 that had macro capabilities. This was 12 megapixel. They could have easily just moved this across and given it a camera upgrade. They didn't. And the rest of the cover screen software is the same too. The way you interact with it, the modes that are there, all the same. But the cover screen is probably where the majority of the changes have been made for this phone overall. But it's not camera related, it's just software related. Samsung have made more use on the cover screen than they did last year with the Flip 7, which was already a massive improvement over the Flip 6. The thing is, I imagine One UI 9 will bring a lot of these features back to the Flip 7 once it gets its update. But with all of that, let's go through it anyway, because if you're getting a Flip 8, you might just want to know. So you get a bit of a fresher feel about the cover screen on the Flip 8 versus the Flip 7. With the Flip 7, just a quick one I noticed straight away, when you unlock it, it stays on the lock screen, I guess you could say, and then you swipe through to go to the widgets or your notifications on the other side, and that's it. With the Flip 8, once you unlock it from the lock screen, it goes into, I guess, a home screen where you can kind of control that a little bit more, and then you can swipe through there. But the first big thing I noticed was that notifications aren't when you swipe to the right. It's actually integrated now into the quick panel. So when you swipe down for the quick panel, you get notifications first, and then you swipe across to get your quick panel toggles. This replicates how it is on the inside display on One UI, and it just brought it to the front, so it's a bit more consistent. Flip 7, you still have access to the quick panel, but it's a quick panel only, and then notifications are swiped to the right to be brought up in like a card. Not a big drastic transition, just to be a bit more natural and a bit more, I guess, used to how you do it on the inside. You've also got access to an app drawer. So with the Flip 7, you had to scroll through the widgets to find your app cards. And what Samsung did last year was they separated the Good Lock app card to the main app card, and there were two different ones. Now you've got it all under one. So you launch the app drawer and you've got your main core apps at the top, separated by a line which you can add to a whole lot easier. And that's thanks to Good Lock, that's been there with the multi-star one, where you can actually go through and select right from the cover screen any apps you want to launch from there. And then you just launch the app. It's very, very simple. And then the app's there. And like I said, the Flip 7 isn't as convenient in that way. You've got to go to different app cards to find the apps you want to launch. And as I sort of said when I started this whole segment of this part, when you unlock the phone, you go into a Now Brief card, which basically effectively becomes your home screen. And the Now Brief you have at the top with the weather information, and you can press on it and go straight into your Now Brief, and you can scroll through that. And then underneath that, you've got a slither of apps that are like a dock or a taskbar type thing, where you can have your favorite apps pinned there. And you can customize that, again, right from the lock screen. What's great with this too is that Samsung have enabled a Recents app menu. So when you swipe up to go home, you can actually swipe up Extended, and it brings up all your recent apps that you can scroll between and go back to a recent app that you were using. So you want to go back to the internet browser, scroll through it, find it, bring it back up. And then you can go through again and go to a different app that you've had open in the background and launch that too. That function on the Flip 7 just does not exist. Swiping up will just take you back to the home, I guess, widget or card straight away. And the whole card situation has been made a whole lot easier. With the Flip 7, if you need to add a widget to your home screen, it will take you to the inside display. Tells you to open your phone to continue to widget selection. Fine, but it's a little bit inconvenient. Flip 8, if you want to expand and add a widget, scroll to the end, press the plus button, and your widgets come straight up. And you just need to scroll through the list, select, and add them. And what's great too is the widget selection has been expanded, so you have more options. Good example I've got is with the app widget from the Flip 7, it's an entire card that you have to add. With the Flip 8, it's actually a widget. So it's a little tiny tile or an expanded tile, and it doesn't dominate the entire screen. It actually is just a little slither of it, and then you can add more information as you need it. The other stuff is still there, like Good Lock. You still can add the games widget should you wish, but I think Samsung made it a lot easier to do a lot more from the cover screen without needing to unfold. So all the customizations can actually be done on the cover screen itself, which is nice. And they do expand the functionality of that cover screen. The space is there, you may as well use it. But I think the thing is, all of that stuff can literally be done via a software update to the Flip 7. It's the same cover screen size, which realistically means that it should be capable of running it. And I don't see why Samsung wouldn't do it. It may sound like I'm saying here that the Flip 8 isn't a great phone because it's the same as the Flip 7. Not true. The hardware of the Galaxy Z Flip 8 is sensational. Samsung have done a great job in refining what was already good last year. There is obviously things that Samsung could do. The cameras could be made better. You could have a 50 megapixel ultra wide camera instead of just the 12 megapixel one. That would certainly improve the camera output. But I don't think changing the cameras changes the value proposition of the Flip form. I think this is it. I think this is the final form that Samsung have got for this device. There's nothing realistically more that they can change here. And then that makes me wonder, is this actually going to be the final Flip ever? The cover screen can't realistically get bigger. If they make it wider, it's effectively going to be this. The inner display is as close to a normal smartphone as they're going to get as well. And the software is very mature now. That cover screen software is well supported, and you've even got Samsung DeX that runs on here natively. So there's absolutely no issues from a software point of view. You're not missing anything. I mean, I might be missing something. Maybe there's more that they can achieve here with this form that I'm just not aware of yet. But as it stands, as you use it, there's really not much more to say here. If you do have a Flip 7, there is absolutely no need to upgrade to the Flip 8 though, because it's just not enough of a difference. Just in case you were thinking about it, because you need to maybe know. However, if you have any of the older Flips, going all the way back to Flip 5, Flip 4, Flip 3, OG Flip, or even 2 years ago with the Galaxy Z Flip 6, it's a no-brainer for me. Everything has been upgraded. Batteries bigger and more efficient, better chips, better camera experience overall, better cover screen experience. Everything has been made more mature. And I think if you're waiting for this to get better, don't. The form factor is where it is, and I think you'll be happy with the upgrade. Anyways, I hope you've enjoyed the comparison. I will do a bit more on the Flip 8. I don't have it for long, so I'll have to send it back eventually. But if you are interested, let me know in the comments what it is you want to know. Hit subscribe whilst you're down there to Tech with Benefits. Lots of other coverage of lots of other things on the channel, including a comparison to the iPad mini from the Z Fold 8 coming up. I just want to see where Apple's at when it comes to their mini tablet form factor. It might give me some insight into their iPhone foldable that's coming later. See you guys in the next one. You.